Based on your scientific work, what is currently the greatest challenge for risk management in companies?
Well, it's a very challenging question because singling out one issue is not necessarily the best answer. But the idea is that today people actually do have to think about swarm of risks, actually a group of risks appearing all at the same time and all acting in the same direction. So that's a sort of a change of a paradigm, which we have tried to put forward in many of our projects. And this change of paradigm is, in fact, saying go away from pure compliance and just meeting formal requirements, go to proactive, real governance, and embedded in every element and every aspect of company policies and organizational policies, of course, all together. And that would be the quintessence of the message: from single risks to swarm of risk to network of risk, which we are facing nowadays. And we can see it when looking at the risks posed by the policies or finance and similar.
What can companies do to increase their status of resilience?
In the last quarter of a century, people were very often looking just at a list of risks, not necessarily these lists, not necessarily containing unknown risks. And that resulted in the fact that many, including very large organizations, including governments, including large systems, were essentially not ready for unknown risks. And when one is not ready for a risk, especially not ready for a surprising risk with implying high consequences, then the resilience of that organization, of that government, of that system goes down. And that is something which needs to be changed. So apart, as we said earlier, looking to this network or swarm of risks, we have to look and measure the resilience. In order to measure it, usually we go to things like indicators. And once when this is measured, the resilience has to be tested. That's something which people normally do not like to do. And stress testing, in this case, testing the resilience, would mean that we assume some adverse event, some critical situation. And for this situation, simulated, try to measure the response. The response can be then very indicative for identifying what's good, what's bad, for the maintaining and keeping resilience, and only with such measures one can really increase the status of resilience. So, in one word, the suggestion, the answer would be quantify the status of resilience if you want to have it.
How does transfer of scientific findings influence the companies in risk governance?
For this question, I would gladly make reference to the term and the book of Christopher Clark. It's the book called Sleepwalkers. It's talking about the ignoring of scientific findings, scientific evidence when making important decisions. In Clark's book, it resulted in the First World War. I'm not saying that we are going towards the First World or Third World War, but in a way, we are often ignoring the early warnings or the scientific evidence which is available and telling us what kind of risks we should consider in risk governance. Just as an example, in 2011, OECD has created a comprehensive list of topics, not necessarily single risks, related to financial, to IT, to social unrest, And all what we have predicted, and Steinbeis has participated in this study through EUBRI. All these things are happening or have already happened. Pandemics has happened, financial risks have happened, cyber risks are taking place all over the world. And last but not least, we are having a problem on the social level. So the quintessence of the answers is if we ignore the early warnings coming from scientific findings, we are not going to do a good service to anyone.